Two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going to be dedicating this episode to um, my my mother-in-law, who passed away uh, 12 years ago, and would have been just about midway between when she was born and when she died. So I'm handing this over to you, Tammy. What movie did you subject us to?
It's actually 11 years, my dear, but that's fine. It's Kid Galahad. Part of the reason I chose this, like David said, is my mom loved Elvis, and she also loved Charles Bronson. And guess what? They're both in this movie. So, the movie is from 1962, and like I just mentioned, it does have both Charles Bronson and Elvis in it.
Who did he play?
Excuse me?
Who did Charles Bronson play? I didn't recognize him.
You didn't recognize him?
No.
He's the trainer.
Okay.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
got the short,
actually, funnily
got
enough,
the short haircut and kind of limps around.
Yeah,
uh,
he's too young, I think.
funnily enough, my parents said they saw him and they said he looked familiar from somewhere, but they couldn't remember from where. No,
Well, now you can
not
tell it's Charles Bronson, by a young
Oh,
Charles Bronson.
so your parents watched the movie with you?
partially, yes.
Ah,
So the movie is directed by Phil Karlson, and the main what IMDb says is after completing his military service, Walter Gulick takes a job, that is Elvis Presley, takes a job as a sparring partner at a gym, the owner of which sees potential in Walter as a professional fighter and takes him under his wing. So, Boris, was this the first time you watched this movie?
Yes, it was. And although it might not be a movie I would normally go for if I was choosing a movie, but I was not entirely uninterested in it because I do also like Elvis Presley. Well, okay, I have more been listening to his music than watching him in movies, but yeah, as some of you may know, I'm a writer, and a very important part of my writing is music. I find a lot of inspiration in music, and there are quite several Elvis Presley songs in the, as I like to call it, soundtrack of my story.
You ain't
So
nothing but a hound dog crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog crying all the time.
It does seem like, though,
Ain't never
basically
but
in
a
the
crabbit.
movies, that he's not really the writer behind a lot of the music in the movies, because I think they made the songs for the movies, compared to his own music, that's not in the movies. Because if you look when the movies, when they're doing listing the songs and stuff, you won't see him as listed as writing them. And I think that's just for the simple fact that, like I said, when they were making the movie, setting the movies up, they wanted songs to go along with the movie.
makes sense, yeah.
You would think
Well,
they'd have him write the music for it, write the songs for it,
no, I don't think he really had a choice in what songs that he was going to be singing at that point in time. I think that he
Well,
chose
Jailhouse
when
Rock
he
was
would.
his song. when he did that movie.
What you got to keep in mind about these movies too is he did them. He had some fun doing them, but he actually wanted more better movies. He wanted better roles and everything, and they kept stringing him along. Well, just do this one more. Just do another one, or so he never actually got to.
Yeah, he never actually be a real actor. He was just like Mo
Right,
said, it was just
Typecast.
promotion for the music, and the music was promotion for the movies, and
to his
just kind
total
of
potential.
yeah, it was just a big thing like that, promotional gag for it, and and we never got to see, you know, his chops, acting chops, to see if he actually could act beyond the same character.
Right. Did you have anything else to add, Boris?
Yes, I wanted to say that even though I normally don't go for movies about people playing sports and stuff like that, but I ended up enjoying this movie maybe somewhat more than I thought I would, although, like I said, I was not really uninterested in it because I do like Elvis Presley as a singer, and all the songs I heard in this movie were new to me. Actually, I had not heard any of these before. And there were some good moments in the story too, one of which I will probably be mentioning later on. So yeah,
Spaddow!
Spunow. Well,
Oh
okay.
yeah, he definitely does a really good spit out. Not far into the movie.
Yep.
You mean in when he is fighting that other boxer?
Yep.
Yeah, kinda yes. Although the moment I had on
And
mind is
those and those
another
uh
one.
and those bodyguards as well.
So yeah,
Okay.
I'm definitely glad I watched this movie. I did enjoy it in the end quite a bit.
Well, that's good. I know it's not your normal thing because it's not a horror movie, but you know.
Kinda, yeah.
Glad you found
Okay.
it.
Is that it then?
I
So
guess so, yeah.
for now, okay, we'll move on to Crow.
Well, I don't think I saw it. I saw a lot of Elvis movies when I was a kid. Like I said, my mother was a big fan of Elvis, the music, the movies, So I don't think I saw this one before. I don't remember if I had seen it before. Uh, I do. I did notice as I started watching it. I'm like, he's basically doing the Rocky Marciano thing. Um, letting the guy hit him and wear him down, and then boom, one punch knock him out. Rocky Marciano was famous for that. He'd get his face kicked, punched in, whatever, destroyed. And when you think that Rocky's gonna go down or whatever, the other guy just tires out, and that's when bam, he nails him and he's down for the count. So I thought it was interesting that they did the Rocky Marciano approach with him. Even later when he learned to block a little bit, he was still pretty much kind of doing that same style. So I thought that was cool to
I
see
didn't
that.
know that that was his style, but
Yeah,
I
well,
that was something that I
I
noticed in the
I'm
movie too. Like he just sits there, takes it, and all of a sudden, bam! And it's like, whoa, shit!
yeah. See, I'm not a boxing fan, but I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts, and if anyone knows about Rocky Marciano, he's from Brockton, Massachusetts.
Ah,
I knew his family. I didn't know him, but I knew his nephews. Knew some of his family members, and so it's kind of a big deal from where I'm from, because that's where he's from. Um, it's Brockton, Massachusetts. They did a a documentary on him, and they showed Brockton, and they showed Brockton Cab where I used to work before I worked there. It was cool seeing that documentary because again, not a huge fan of boxing, but just because it was my home city, I'd say town, but it was definitely a city, but still not well known. I mean, everyone knows Boston, but most people don't know Brockton, um, unless you're from this area. But yeah, so I know about Rocky Marciano, and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, also from Brockton, even though he says he's from Boston or wherever he says he's from. He's lying. He's from Brockton. So,
So did you enjoy it then, especially because of the boxing, or?
I mean, like I said, I'm not a boxing fan, but it was interesting. I mean, it was more of a the boxing was the background. I mean that's what he did, but he wasn't a boxer. He didn't even really want to be a boxer, so it was okay. I mean, I'm not a huge Elvis fan. I don't hate him. Some of the songs I like. Not as big a fan of the movies because it's like you see one, you see most of them. Which is why he wanted to do other stuff because
True.
it was just but I do personally like Jailhouse Rock, probably the best, and Blue Hawaii second. It's funny because mom was Blue Hawaii was her favorite, and then Jailhouse Rock was her second. So yeah.
I believe they think Jailhouse was my mom's because I think that's the one that he sang as "You're So Young and Beautiful" in it.
Yeah.
That was like her favorite song, and this was like her second favorite because both Bronson and Elvis are in there, and Bronson was her favorite actor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Bronson, but he was decent in this one. So I guess I liked him when he was younger. Um, I,
I liked him
I
when he was younger too, because when he
Yeah,
looked
I liked
older,
him in this one. So, like I said, I didn't realize it was him. I forgot you said he was in it until just now. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You did say he was in it, and yeah. So I was thinking maybe the trainer, but I wasn't sure. And I certainly he didn't look like Charles Bronson when I think of Charles Bronson, but obviously he's a lot
yeah, when
younger.
he gets
So
older, to me when he gets older, he looks like a monkey. No offense to Charles Bronson, but when he gets older, you
yeah,
know.
he acts like one too.
Well, my mom thought he was all that even when he got older. So I'm just trying to,
Yeah, I mean, everyone has different tastes, so I mean, somebody likes them up there, but yeah, I I enjoy the movie. I mean, it wasn't a favorite or anything, but it was decent. I figured I like it okay because like I said, I like I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't Elvis songs, but we did hear him sing, and they were interesting. I even sang along to a few of them. They're catchy, just like most of Elvis songs himself. His songs are catchy, so it was definitely catchy stuff, and it was interesting. And
okay.
yeah, that's
All
my
right,
first impression.
Dave, moving on to you.
Okay. I'd seen bits and pieces of this movie over time, especially more bits and pieces while being around you, because you are an Elvis fan and your mom was more of one, and um, uh, I think I would catch various moments of this movie while you were watching your Elvis marathons. Around the time of your mother's passing and your mother's birthday. It's like you do a marathon like twice a year.
And sometimes when they would have the marathon on, celebrating
TCM.
um, Elvis or his death or whatever. Sometimes they run marathons on TCM or other stations, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, marathon to Elvis, yeah.
But this is my first time watching this film in its entirety. The thing about Elvis is, I don't know, he always seems to get typecast in a lot of roles, and this is the age where lip syncing or singing was like huge in movies, especially musicals, and for rock and roll singers who would end up like in films. And I guess Elvis was in a lot more movies than I thought he was at first.
Oh, he's in a ton. Amazon has like every Elvis movie but this one. I was like, what the fuck?
But I don't know. I kind of wish that the movies would portray him as actually singing the movies instead of us hearing a recording. You know, over his voice, even though he's probably singing it while he's acting. But you can obviously tell that it's like a recording over the voice. So,
Yeah.
I kind of wish that we could have maybe had like a movie where he actually was singing it for real.
I'm sure there
Instead.
are.
But you could really tell that they had recorded the music over the voices, except for when the voices are acting. But I liked the story. Okay, I mean, it was kind of interesting how they kind of like built his legendariness on like 17 knockouts, and they had no history to show for it.
And the name Kid Galahad,
Yeah.
because he was supposed to be, isn't that like a story?
Galahad was
Yeah.
the knight Galahad who
Yeah,
had
Sir
originally
Galahad.
come from King Arthurian days.
Yep.
Right.
Galahad was King Arthur's number one knight. Fell in love with his queen, and it was kind of a tryst.
That was Lancelot, dude.
So, well,
He still was a
he
knight.
was still a knight of the Round Table,
Yes, he
And
was.
he-
and
but he
all
was-
of the knights
he
were
wasn't
actually in
Lancelot.
love with the queen, anyways. So,
He was just known for being a
Yeah, but
good
Lancelot's
guy.
the only one that stuck his lance in her.
But Galahad was known for his being the helpful, the good guy,
yeah, but
kind of like in the knight in shining
cocky.
armor.
I think they're referring to him as being cocky as well, in a sense.
I don't remember that, but they did
No.
say that he died because he died young because of basically sacrificed himself. And they were saying they don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. Referring to him like Galahad because of that. But yeah.
But I enjoyed the movie well enough. I mean, it did. It was kind of interesting how the sister came into play, and then she was looking at Elvis up and down, and he couldn't keep from like looking back at her while he was, looking at someone's car, and
It was definitely I don't know about you guys, but it was very predictable. The whole movie was very predictable. I mean, there wasn't anything surprising at all for me. I mean, obviously I didn't see every little thing they were going to do, but the majority of the storyline was very predictable.
Oh, is that all you have to say, Dave?
yeah. I mean, I'll watch it again in the future if you end up watching it again. But it's nothing that I will like personally just sit down and rewatch. But it is kind of interesting how Charles Bronson is in there at the same time as Elvis, and that's all that I'll say. So,
And he wasn't that bad.
No,
Okay,
he wasn't.
Well, obviously, this is not my first time watching it. I grew up with my mom loving Elvis, and I personally taped a whole bunch of the movies for her at one time, and that's how I got into a lot of them because I did that. And
My mother would set a timer.
knowing that she, loved Charles Bronson.
Her mother didn't know how to set a timer.
Yeah, my mother set a timer and told me not to touch the TV. I can watch what she's watching, but that's it.
I usually had stations that they didn't get. Let's put it that way. For cable and everything. So, but
What's cable?
I enjoyed it a lot because I knew it made her happy, and I knew this movie with having Bronson and Elvis in it really made her day. And I think that's part of the reason I got into this one a little bit more than some of the other ones. But because I'm not really into boxing, boxing or boxing movies myself. But it was just, but I myself enjoyed it for many reasons. Like I said, because of my mom. I thought even though the boxing was a good part of it, I think it was done good with there was more storyline than just him boxing.
Yeah, they
There was
showed the boxing, but it wasn't the only thing. Kind of like the Rocky movies. I mean, obviously, boxing is a big part of the Rocky movies, but there's still a story behind it, and they don't show just the boxing. I mean, some of the training
Yeah.
and stuff. But yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, there's a few of those sports like movies that are good. Like we were talking about Friday nights. I never watched the TV show, but I saw the movie, and I don't care about football either. But it was a decent movie. A lot of these inspirational sports movies are pretty good, even if you don't care for the sports themselves.
true. So should we get into the movie itself?
Sure.
So it opens up with him coming into town sitting on the back of a truck, and he's coming to this little town that he was actually born in, and that's why he's trying to come back here because
If you
it's
can sing, then you'll be a king.
and the place is called Cream Valley, and it's in New York. It's a little tiny little town, and he, when he first gets there, there's a guy that can't get his car started. He fixes that and it starts asking him for work, but he's not the one who runs the mechanics. So he goes over to it looks like it's like a lodge type of a thing, like a vacation lodge. And the lady there was very nice to him and gets him some breakfast and starts talking to him. And that would be he's looking to talk to Mr. Grogan, and he lets her know
Her
that.
fiance.
And her everybody calls her Dolly, and Dolly's like, well, he's not here right now, and gets him breakfast and everything. And when Mr. Grogan shows up, he's trying to nicely tell him there is no work or anything. And in the meantime, this other gentleman is talking his ear off about the boxing because evidently this is also like a training camp for boxers at this place. This kind of like a resort in a way, but not not like we think of resorts nowadays.
Wasn't fancy.
No, it wasn't anything fancy, and it was basically based on the training camp for these boxers.
Yeah.
So we also at the beginning end up meeting Charles Bronson's character, and because he is the trainer for the boxers, his name is Lou, and Lou comes down and they start talking to this other gentleman because he's like, I don't have anybody to spar with. His boxer Joe, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
There's nobody to be his sparring partner, and so they end
Well,
up
you're too
roping.
cheap. You only pay $5 a round.
And
Right.
I'm assuming that this Joe is like their best lead boxer,
Yeah.
At the time, it seems like
Yeah,
it's
he
so
was.
they rope Elvis's character, which his name is Walter.
Well, he volunteers because, like he said, um, even though she asked him if he was a fighter, he said no. But then when this comes up, he says, "Well, he did do some boxing in the army, and he needs the money." So,
So like the next time we see him, they're getting him all set up and everything, get him in the ring, and he's just taking it and taking it and taking it.
getting
This
his
guy
face
Joe,
punched in.
And
I,
finally, after taking it for so long, he just gives him this one
Wham! Knockout!
spow
Wow!
and
uh,
flattens him and knocks this guy Joe totally out, and everybody's standing there just with their mouths gaping open because they don't know what to say or do because this
yeah,
is their main boxer and he just flattened them.
Well,
And then
yeah,
one of the best lines. I still get my $5, right? Still get the
Yes.
$5.
I I found that scene a little strange, though. Like until that moment when he knocked him out, why was he not even trying to fight back until then?
Because he didn't know how to fight.
He had only fought for fun, kind of like in the
He fought in
army.
the army, but obviously, nobody's serious, and they just probably punch each other here back and forth, and
Yeah,
he
but he
never,
also showed that he could take a punch.
yeah, he never learned. Like I said, he does the Rocky Marciano style, but again, he never really learned to block the punches, because he could take them, so he just never bothered. Uh,
yeah, but
but he
But he had one mean right hook.
it
yeah,
looked like he wasn't even trying. Like throughout that fight,
Well,
for a
he didn't
moment,
know to hit back.
right,
He'd never been
exactly.
taught how to really
If you
box.
ever watch Rocky
But
Marciano's fights, you'll see a lot of the times that he was just take hits and didn't block a lot, and it was his tactic to tire out his opponent, and then knock him
knock his
out,
ass out.
and that was his tactic, and that's what they did with this character. Is they mimicked the Marciano style to a degree.
But yeah, but
well,
we later on in the movie we do see that they do end up teaching him
Yeah,
actual
he does learn to
boxing.
block a little bit. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
because
he still
Charles
has that.
Bronson's character Lou he is the trainer, and he's like, yeah, you have to learn how to block. You have to,
I actually like Lou. Lou is a good character as well. As he did a good job as an actor. But Lou is a good character.
Yeah, he had that Ronald Reagan
He
haircut.
he had character. Um, you know it which I like. I mean, when he got offered the money later on, he turned that right down, and um, even he was
that's the
supposed to be betraying him, but he was a little
that's the part of
unsure
the
of the
movie that
guy.
I can't. That's the part of the movie I hate. Is after what happens when he turns the money down.
Oh yeah, I
That
mean
just
it was sad that we knew something was gonna happen. And it was sad that it did happen, but it definitely rallied the troops. It got the boss guy Grogan to actually like Galahad, and they kind of buried their demons or whatever, and then they became kind of like friends, and he
Yep,
saw
we're
his
jumping
worth.
ahead a little bit here though. So
Before he just saw
yeah.
before Grogan just saw him as a cash cow, as a way to make money, and that's all he cared about. And then of course when he found out that this guy was like his sister, nobody's good enough for his sister, so you know he was upset about that. Um,
so
I
what did okay? You said you like Bronson's character, which is he was Lou. What did anybody else think of Lou? Did they think that he was good guy? Good character in here, or
yes, yes, definitely. When he turned all that money down because he didn't want to go against his principles and against people he cared about, that was really respectable of him.
Well, yeah. I believe that Otto was in fact the epitome of what a mobbish character was like at least in this day and age, because he had bodyguards, he had people in his pocket, and basically, if I remember correctly, he had something to do with horse bets. So my guess is that he was a loan shark.
Yeah,
So,
Mm,
but he was a loan shark with mob characteristics. You know,
yeah.
yeah. Uh,
I
although
thought
I
we were.
have,
I thought we were talking about Lou.
we
We
were
were,
at a moment, but I was talking about Otto.
because Dave is just Dave, and he likes to go off topic.
like a squab.
But the reason why I mentioned Otto is because of that moment when Lou ends up turning down the money. I mean, those bodyguards were definitely trying to browbeat him, and he was that man who never lifted a finger. He had muscled guys to take care of that. In fact, they were paid well to beat people up if he thought it was necessary to. Take over businesses or make sure that people got his money and shit. So
Didn't do too good a job trying to mess with Elvis.
I liked Charles Bronson's character of Lou because I think Lou was trying to actually have everybody's best interest in mind. He was trying to watch
Yeah,
out for Walter, which is Elvis. He was trying to watch out for Mr. Grogan, and I think that's what he was trying to do, is just trying to make sure everything went right for everybody. And unfortunately, with that gangster or whatever, like um, Dave was talking about, you know, that he kept interfering, and making things quite difficult for everybody.
well, Mr. Grogan was in with him for a lot of money, from what I understand, because of horse bets and
He was
shit.
into
So
a lot of
in a
people for
sense,
money.
he had his mark. You know,
Right.
Mm,
He was into a lot of people for money, actually, because I
yeah,
remember he got the car. The car got repossessed right at the beginning too, and he had
yeah.
that
It came
big
right
bill
up
at
to
the
him like
grocery
that.
store. He had like a $300 like bill at the grocery store, and
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
he
actually,
was a bum that just fed all his money away instead of paying his bills.
right, and, and his character was, well, how, when the guy tried to take the car, how about I flip you for it?
Miss
Everything to him was
Bennett.
a bet, you know.
mm,
I will have
pro-
to say that my favorite character in this whole movie, though, was the priest.
Okay,
We didn't
nice.
get that far yet.
widow.
But so now we're about to the point where Grogan calls his sister for money, and the next thing he knows, she shows up because she has part interest in this whole setup,
50%.
and she doesn't, and she wants to see what's going on. How come every time he asks for money, nothing's getting done and nothing's getting paid, and he asks for more money. So she wants to see what's going on, and he
Well,
does not think that she has the right. He doesn't think, he thinks of her as his little sister,
She's
and
just a
that she's
baby,
right. She's just a baby. She doesn't understand all this, and she can't help make this work and everything. But
but she can lend him money.
I get the sense that he's been like the father figure more in her life than their
Not really.
father
That was
ever
just how it
was.
was back then. That the brother would be like be almost like a father as well. I mean, they had a father, but the brother would also take that role a lot of times back then. With the little sister, especially when it comes to guys trying to date them and stuff. Um, just
Okay,
just the thing.
it's weird.
so, anyways, they Grogan tells all these fairy tales about Kid Galahad, and gets a fight set up because he's told all these wild stories, and they set him up for this fight, and he's getting ready. Lou's getting him all ready and putting his gloves on and everything, and you know Galahad is telling him, he's like, I'm not really a fighter. Well, why are you doing this? Because I need the money. Okay, you know.
He also said he also actually there he said he was doing it to help out Grogan.
Right.
And they're like, "Well, what about you?" He's like, it's he was fine with it. He was a
It's money.
little nervous, but well, no, not at first. At first, he didn't even say anything about money. He said he was doing it more for Grogan, to help him out. He said somebody needs to help him, and they're like, "Well, what about you?" And then they bring that guy in and toss him on the table, and he's like, "See, that's what the guy does to people." So, yeah, he's because he was very selfless too. I mean, yeah, he did need money, but like when he helped the other guy's car and Charles Bronson's character Blue was like pay him and he's like, oh, he said it was nothing and other characters like, yeah, it was nothing, and then he drives off and gave him a red cent.
And wasn't it 10 rounds that he had to go?
No. They
No.
said it said it was 10 rounds is what they set it for. And of course the promotional guy thought that Elvis wasn't even going to last one round, and he was right that we didn't last more than one round, but it was the other way around.
And I think the bet was for 3 rounds actually. That was what the bet was about, and then the guy like, well, he's all getting all running around and getting all perturbed because he's like he's not even gonna last one round.
Well, he said that everybody was going to ask their money back. If a big fight is over in less than a round, people get upset with that. I remember one boxing fight I did see, and it was a big hoopla. Everyone was so excited to see this fight and stuff, and I remember watching it. It was over in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
That's when pay-per-view was such a humongous thing.
yeah, it was
And
just like,
everybody had spent all this money to order that match.
yeah. I mean, I can imagine like this now. People can't really do too much, but back then they were physically there. They could physically like I want my money back and cause a huge fuss and stuff. And I can see why the owner would be a little upset there because Elvis looked like he wasn't even gonna last a few more seconds. And, it was kind of funny.
But then, as Boris says, he came back with that sprow.
Wow! Yeah.
So, what do you think of that jalopy that he rebuilt?
It was. I mean, like, it had character. I like black and I love red, especially with cars. So I like it.
That was really red. That was.
I like
really
both
red.
colors, and I love that kind of red. I love to have a red Mustang like
and
that.
Mr. Grogan was so mad when he took his sister to the
picnic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that jalopy.
And I think Lou called it a tomato car or something.
Yeah, it's tomato car, and it was like blood red, and yeah. Actually, it's not blood red because blood is a lot darker, but yeah, I love the color. That's the color I love especially for cars.
I thought it was neat when he uncovered it with Lou, and he was sitting there trying to tell him it had character and this and that, and Lou was just looking at him like, "You're crazy."
Yeah.
And when they took it out for that one ride.
What I thought was funny was it seemed like he just went into this place and took this car and built it up and never paid for it or asked anybody. He just kind of took it upon himself to rebuild this car that was sitting there and take it. Nobody
they
complained.
Didn't seem to mind, but it was
yeah, nobody
complained.
But I just thought that was interesting.
Right. How about when he took Grogan and Lou for that ride, and Lou was just enjoying it. All these cars are passing up, and Grogan's like, "Oh."
I know Grogan looks like he's gonna have a heart attack or something. I mean, he's just like, "What am I driving in? I'm used to driving in a convertible, there's a hole in the roof above me, and it's just, or it's ripped,
But it was neat
and
how he
Elvis is just driving along singing his song.
But it was neat how he became friends with the town mechanic, and the town mechanic basically, you can use my shop whenever you want,
Yeah,
especially after he won the fight. Then that town mechanic's like, "Yep, it's yours whenever you want to use it,"
yeah,
and he let him work on that car. I mean, it's amazing what it looked like when they found it in that barn underneath everything to what he made it look like in the end. So I thought it was a neat car. I don't know if I would have chosen that red for it, but I thought
like I
it was
said,
still
I loved it. I definitely
I
the
like
original black or the red that he changed it. I love both. So um,
I
yeah,
liked it too.
that's my
Yeah.
that's my car colors right there.
okay. Well, it, you know where we've gone so far during this time, Elvis and Rose, that is Grogan's sister, obviously start having a relationship and start liking each other, and this just perturbs Grogan. And Dolly, which is his girlfriend, keeps trying to let him know that she's not a baby anymore. And she's even made remarks: babies are not built like that.
Yeah, that's a great remark. She's just a baby. Babies aren't built like that.
Right. And
'Cause
and
she's
she's
20. She's supposed to be 21 in it. The sister.
right. I was just gonna say that. And so she was trying to get him to realize that it's time to, cut the purse strings here.
Yeah,
Um
and
it was
also get him
sweet.
to realize that his girlfriend, not wants to be more than just a girlfriend and be engaged and married and stuff. I love when he introduces her to the sister, and he's like, this is um I can't even think of her name. And then she's like, Mrs. says her name, and then she's like, and then he's like, oh yeah, she just helps around here, and she just helped me here this morning, and she's just looking at him with daggers shooting out. Like obviously, his sister had to notice that look. Like there's no way she knew that, thought that was she was just a random girl.
Yeah, I think she wanted to take that hair dryer and just like
Oh yeah,
whack.
shove it up his ass. Something like she was pissed. I mean, you could just if looks could kill, he would have died. The actress did such a great job, looking like she was just so pissed off now for the way he acted.
Yeah, and then she goes back in the kitchen. And what'd you think of the cook? I thought he was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he was a nice guy, sentimental. Yeah, like I say, it was pretty funny when she said she was a fiance, and he like drops the fans around, and always looks at him, and he probably knew that she was fizzing a little bit, and he was hoping to be a fiance, but wasn't, just from the reaction of the cook. But it was funny. It was
Yeah,
definitely
he seems to be a good fit in with everything.
yeah.
He's tries to watch out, and he's always rooting for Kid Galahad, Walter, whatever, whichever name you want to call him at the time. His name is Walter, but everybody calls him Kid Galahad. Um, but he's
Why did you
always
call me
rooting
Elvis like
for
I
him,
do?
and he'll get done practicing, and he's like, I think you need a nice steak now, and he takes them off, and you know,
you
so
big. You are giving the poor guy an identity crisis.
but so we during all this we also see that Otto and his gentlemen come, and they're trying to put pressure on Mr. Grogan about an upcoming fight, and this is supposed to be a very big one. This Sugar Boy or whatever Romero.
Romero, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the town was putting it together. The town council. Um,
Right.
because
but
they
he was
wanted to
getting
bring
pressure from
money into the town, and that's why they finally deigned to check out Grogan and talk to him again because they hadn't for a while because he was the manager of Kid Galahad, who they wanted. I love how he never actually found out how much money he charged because he's like it's gonna cost you. I just haven't figured out how much yet. Obviously, he has some history with them, and he's kind of gonna want to charge them a little extra for being the nice friends they were.
Okay, so any other comments about where we are right now? Because we got everything kind of like going on at once. We got the two falling in love. He's training for this boxing. Grogan's getting hit up by by Otto and his men. So there's a whole bunch going on, and then we got the town celebration day, whatever this picnic is. So there's quite a lot of things going on all at once. Anybody got anything to say about any of that?
Well, I could
Yeah, I
say,
mean,
okay, Crow, you first.
no, go ahead, dude, go ahead. I talked enough. Go ahead.
Oh, well, there are quite several things I could say about the characters and the story. For example, one thing I didn't get to mention so far is that I kind of took an instant dislike both for Grogan and his girlfriend because they were hypocritical liars. They just cared about money, even though the girl was less bad than him, but even she was playing nice to Walter's face and then told her husband to get rid of him. And I really hate people who aren't willing to be honest with the person they're talking to. Uh, and
Well,
also,
Dolly wasn't being dishonest. It was Grogan that was being dishonest about everything because Grogan was turning around, betting this, betting that, squandering the money, making promises to everybody, coming up with stories about everything. And
yeah,
Dolly
but
is just having Dolly was having enough of it. And the only reason that she did she was maybe trying at first to discourage Galahad is she didn't want him to be caught up in the whole scheme of everything. She
uh,
was trying to protect
Yeah,
him from being caught up.
she didn't want him hurt. She thought he was gonna get killed, and especially after the first time she saw him, fight, he thought she was gonna get killed, and
but
on TV. So she wasn't against him. She was against her boyfriend exploiting
I
her.
I
And
got the impression that she was lying to him
no,
that
no, she was genuine. She genuinely cared about other people, and although she loved her boyfriend there, she knew he was a cad and used people. He
yeah,
was a
but
liar.
didn't she like tell Walter that she would see what she could do for him, and then she went to Grogan and told him to get rid of Walter?
Right, because she didn't want she wanted to help Elva's character there, but she didn't want him boxing because she thought he was gonna get killed. She thought he was gonna get
Oh,
hurt. She didn't want to see him get hurt. But she liked him.
oh, so that was why I somehow didn't get that.
Yeah, she liked him. Thought he was a nice guy, a decent person. And she didn't want to see him get hurt, and she thought he was gonna get hurt bad. And
That's why she went against Grogan as far as how he was
yeah,
saying about his sister, because you know, she thought that they were a good pair, Elvis and Rose.
yeah, they had
And
chemistry. And right off the bat, when she turned around, she saw him, and he saw her when they looked, and then Elvis went to leave, and he's like backing up the door, still looking at her, and he leaves, and she goes right over and starts looking, and she's looking at the scenery, yeah, scenery, He's checking out Elvis's ass. He's checking out Elvis the pelvis.
And actually, although I suppose we were meant to hate the character of Otto, I didn't hate him just because he put Grogan in his place.
I don't think Grogan was a horrible guy. I just think that obviously he was greedy because he had a gambling addiction. I definitely didn't like Otto. Otto was a douche.
I think he was a heel for Dragon Dolly through a 4 year.
3 years.
What is it? He said 4, or she
She
said
said
4.
3. She said 3.
She said 3.
Okay, well, I heard 4.
Yeah, well, you hear thing.
I like, even when when Elvis and Grogan had that confrontation after the picnic,
Ah,
and
that's my
Grogan
favorite.
wanted to hit him, and he put everything right out there to Grogan, point blank, and just basically told him how he was being, how he was acting, who he
Uh,
was, everything, and
Yep.
Grogan
I'm
didn't
not
like
marrying.
it.
I'm not marrying you. I'm not marrying your sister because she's your sister. But in spite of it,
yeah, that's my favorite quote. You just stole it from
that's
me.
definitely a good one. That's
Oh
definitely a
yeah.
good one. He told him right off, and he's like, "Go ahead and hit me if you want to try." But yeah, Grogan seems to be a decent fighter himself. You see that a little bit later, but yeah, he definitely would have gotten his ass knocked out.
Yes. But yeah, I really love what Walter told him there. Like it's the best way to answer back a patronizing asshole like Grogan.
So we
Yeah, he
get
definitely waited up like late enough for her to come home, like he was her father or whatnot. So,
so what do we think when those gangsters or Otto's men come back, and we had touched on it at the beginning, and they're trying to get Lou to take money, and Lou won't.
to help throw the fight.
Right. So, and then they break his hands so that he can't help Galahad.
Yeah,
So
I mean, he throws he takes the $500. He's like, you can stick it, and he throws the money at him, which I thought was so great. He didn't just like
Yeah.
hand it back to him or anything. He just grabbed it and just threw the money in his face, letting him know how disgusted he was to be even, asked to take a bribe like that.
and then when Grogan comes in and finds out what has happened to his friend,
Yeah, that's
you
when you see that Grogan isn't such a bad guy after all, and he does care about people, even though he does have a gambling addiction. That's when he stepped up and was like, no, enough is enough. And even though he hadn't seen what happened to that other Rocky guy that obviously they had killed, he did see what happened here, and he was more than willing
Uh,
to
oh
testify.
yeah. What was the deal with that Rocky guy? From what I understood, Grogan was a murder suspect there, but
No,
you.
no, no. He
he
wasn't
was
a
a
suspect.
witness.
He was a
They think he was
witness.
a witness.
They thought he was a
Oh,
witness because he was in the same sauna. But if you've ever been in a sauna, it's super fucking thick in there, and I believe he probably couldn't see anything. He heard the Rocky guy in there, and he didn't know what happened. I mean, he probably assumed what happened, but he actually didn't see what happened, and that
oh,
was the whole thing, that he didn't see it. So he was honestly saying he didn't see anything, and no one believes him, including the gangster guy and the the government dude. And then afterwards, he's like, you know what? I think maybe I might believe you. But he's like, well, yeah, you willing to testify for what happened last night? He's like, after what he did to my friend, definitely, I'll sing like a canary. Which it shows that he does have integrity. He does care about his friends, and he's not such a bad guy after all. Like I said, I didn't particularly care for him too much. I didn't hate him. I understood him, but yeah, I definitely thought he wasn't the greatest guy. But yeah, he definitely proved to be better than
Well,
I previously thought.
eventually he did kind of redeem himself, yeah,
Right.
but until that point, I really disliked him a lot.
So, what did you think of all of these people that are supposed to be the respectable people of the town betting on Galahad at this
Yeah, like
last
the
fight?
priest.
The priest,
Really?
the treasury, the town treasurer, and everybody's coming together.
The priest is betting on games, on sports, especially boxing. But that's not the first time. You saw that in Daredevil too. But the
But it
Well,
was
priest
you
big
also
on.
saw that in The Quiet Man, where the
No, I
Irish
did not
priest
because
was.
I never saw that movie.
Yes, you did.
I didn't.
We talked about it.
yeah, we
No,
did.
I
You
wasn't here.
hated John Wayne.
I wasn't here. I have not watched the John Wayne
Oh,
movie with you guys.
You don't like John Wayne?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. I thought you were on that one though.
Nope.
But anyways, so the big fight happens, and during it, I think it was cool how the whole town was in on everything. Like the sheriff was keeping the two guys that were Otto's people in jail, so they couldn't get out. The guy that was supposed to be taking care of Galahad, that was one of Otto's men. Grogan took care of him. And it was like how everybody came together and made the fight happen and basically Otto's men and were just like left out.
spun
Oh
out.
yeah, they got jailed. Because what they did, and they got their asses kicked and then jailed. And they're all
Yeah,
like trying to get out, and they're like saying that they should be left out, and they knew more about procedure than the cop did. And he's like, "It's because you've been in jail enough more times." That was
but
kind of a little funny thing, and I love how Grogan uh, again redeems himself by knocking out the other trainer guy and telling his cop friend, oh, he tried to hit me. He's like, oh, I'll take care of him. So he gets taken out of the picture. So Grogan comes in to uh,
Grogan and the cook.
be in the corner. Yeah, be in the corner. Um, and Lou was in the corner too. But obviously, he could only give advice because his hands were all stitched up. So yeah, I liked how they made sure that it was a fair fight and not all crooked like the jerk
So what you
wanted.
guys think of the fight itself?
It was good. I mean, I knew he was gonna win, but when he did, it was kind of like, oh, that was quick. Like I thought
uh,
it was gonna be because the way it was going, it looked like it was gonna last a few
How
rounds.
did you like that the one scene when they were punch for punch hitting each other, punch for punch? It was
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it was
uh,
interesting. Yeah.
uh,
And then all
uh,
of a sudden, he's like tells him he's like, use your left and then get in with your right. And the other guy on the other team was saying, no, use your right. And it was just like left and then boom, and he's
mm,
down. And I thought he was gonna get back up, and then he was the tank
the
out. I was
first
like,
time I
oh,
watched it.
okay,
I thought he was gonna get back up too. I didn't think it
yeah,
was over quite that
yeah,
quick.
yeah. That was a little quicker than I
yeah,
expected.
uh,
Because it was more
y-
of like it wasn't a championship match, but it was more like a championship match. It was like a bigger match, so I thought it would be a little bit longer. But yeah,
yeah. I
It
also
was
thought
still
it
kind of
would be.
intense though, because like I said, when they had those moments where they were doing punch for punch for punch for
yeah, it was
punch.
definitely better. It was definitely better fights than the others were. I mean, the others were just kind of over, boom, over, boom, over.
So, well, we know that, he does end up winning and all that good stuff, and everybody's happy. Dolly and Grogan are getting together. Rose and Kid Galahad are getting together. The whole town is all happy and everything. So now that we got and Otto and his men, well, they're out of it. That's it. Goodbye. Uh, what did everybody think about the production of this?
Mm, I would say it was pretty good, although maybe the fights themselves were maybe not entirely realistic, but I guess they weren't able to do it better at the time. And yeah, the final fight, I do think it should have been longer and more suspenseful. Maybe we should have seen more of Walter actually struggling to defeat the other guy. Maybe keep us more, maybe keep us more in suspense whether he would win or not before he eventually does.
Well, I knew he'd win and I knew I'd knock him out. I just didn't expect it so fast.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Mm,
Well, I think you definitely had some really nice scenery, and I think how they got everybody together for the songs was nice, and I do agree that like that last fight could have like come out a little bit longer, a little bit more suspenseful, but I think for the production, you had quite a few little storylines going on in the thing, and I think they all kind of mixed pretty good, you know, together.
mm,
So
yeah, except maybe the part about that guy who was killed. I still find it kind of confusing. Like, in the end, we didn't even get to know who killed him and why was that murder actually relevant to the story of this movie?
it was relevant because nobody believed Grogan on this, and he was getting pressured by Otto's man and by the law about this. So from both sides, he's getting pressured, and he's trying to tell everybody, "I didn't see anything. I don't know." And trying to get these people off his back, and then when Otto's men go and mess up Lou, then Grogan comes up and says, he goes, "See, I told you I didn't see the other, but I saw this. So this time I will say something." And,
Oh,
that was the point of it. He was not going to say something about the other one because he did not see it and nobody would listen to him and nobody would believe him. But this time he did. So now he was going to say something.
Yep.
Yep, and he
mm,
grew some balls too. So he kind of like
This was a
uh,
way
Yeah.
to
Well,
prove.
when he saw what they did to his friend, he was like, "That's it. I've had it." He
well,
just
yeah,
got
he
it.
smashed
He
that
just sta-
dude's face with the
he
beer
just started
mug.
fighting them, and he didn't even have backup. He didn't even know he was gonna get backup. He didn't even think about it. He just went at him, and I knew Elvis would come in. I didn't know he's upstairs, but I knew he would come in and help out. So like I said, the movie was predictable. There wasn't
See,
that many.
Boris,
There was surprises, but
the whole idea of this other fighter being killed, was you had kind of like a sense of this Otto and his
yeah, a
men.
sense of how much of a douchebag Otto was.
Right. So
oh,
that way you had a sense of what they were and how bad they could get. And here Grogan in the end steps up to the plate because now they messed with his friend. So
uh,
and then now they're going to get their due for for not only what they did to Grogan's friend, but now they're going to probably get it for the one that they've been talking about. Okay?
Yeah, but in the end, we didn't get to know who actually killed that guy.
Otto and his men.
Oh,
Yeah, they did. Like I said, Drogon probably knew they did it. I'm sure he knows he did it. He just didn't see it, so therefore he couldn't testify because he actually did not see it. Because he couldn't see anything, because he was in a
oh,
sauna.
But now he saw what they
Well, he
did to
saw
his.
what they did to his friend, and
So
he's
now he
more than
can
willing
testify.
to sing like a canary, like you said.
oh.
What'd you guys think
Okay.
of the music? Did you enjoy it?
Oh yes, yes, definitely. The music was great, and like I said, I have been familiar with quite several Elvis Presley songs, but these that were in this movie, I had not heard any of these before. So yeah, it was really
Probably
cool.
not, because they're probably made more for the movie. You know, in a sense, I'm sure
Oh,
they probably are on some of his music and everything, but they're not like the popular songs that are like in some of his other movies, like in Blue Hawaii. A lot of the songs that are in Blue Hawaii, you're
Or
gonna
like,
find on CDs and
love
stuff.
me
You
tender,
know,
love me true.
yeah,
Hello.
that one is on my playlist, and also can't
Let me
help.
be your teddy bear.
I
Um,
don't know why, but my mom said that my song was "Devil in Disguise." I
You're
don't
the
know why she would
devil in
say
oh,
that.
disguise. Oh, yes, you
nice
are.
one.
Don't you step on the loose way shoes.
Yeah,
Do
that one
anything you
is
want.
Devil in Disguise is on my Halloween playlist.
But I have no idea why she would say that about me.
It makes
Really?
sense to me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Double, 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 double.
what
David, do
would
you know why she would say that about me?
No comment.
yeah,
Good answer, right?
would you prefer your song being Angel?
Oh, I like that one too. Yeah,
Uh,
that fits me better. I think. Yeah.
uh, some other ones I like are Indescribably Blue, Always on My Mind, Good Luck Charm.
You're
It's
always on
gonna
my mind
be a blue
Wooden Heart.
Christmas without
without you.
you.
Wooden Heart is one of
I'll
my
be
favorites.
blue.
Actually, I didn't have that one on mind, but yeah, fair enough.
Do you like Wooden Heart?
A hard-headed woman, a sword-headed man.
That's
Wooden
no
Heart.
Wooden
Actually,
Heart.
I'm sorry.
Do you know that one?
Uh, you say the title is Wooden Heart.
Don't have a wooden heart.
Oh,
Voulez-vous, s'il vous
I don't
plaît?
recognize that one.
uh,
He
now that
sings
you
German in it,
started,
actually.
now that you started singing it, it sounds kind of familiar, but not entirely.
Yeah, he even sings in German during it.
Oh, oh, but there is one song of his that I
Can't you
really
see
like.
I love you? Please don't break my heart in two. That's not hard to do. Because I don't have a wooden heart. And
That
if you
way,
say goodbye, then I know that I would cry. Maybe I would die, 'cause I don't have a wooden heart. Something
and
like that.
do you guys maybe know his song Adam and Evil? That one is one of my favorites, even though it may not be one of the most popular.
Which one?
Adam and Evil.
Okay.
You know that one.
I think I've heard it before.
Sounds familiar. I just can't place it.
Well, maybe someone should play it or something because my singing voice is terrible.
Walking through a party in the county jail. The prison band was there and they began to wail. The
No,
band was
no,
jumping and the point began to
David.
swing. What?
Everybody's
That's not
let's
the
rock.
song.
What?
Everybody, let's rock.
That's not
Everybody
the
in the
song
whole
that.
jailhouse.
That's not the song that
Dance to
Boris
the
is looking
jailhouse.
for.
What song are you looking for?
Adam and Evil.
It was still a good song, and Molly Q did a good version of it too.
Evil. Oh.
I gotta tell this little story here while we're talking about this. Back when I was in junior high, I had a
Was it
music
called
teacher
Trouble?
that
Uh,
actually was a big Elvis fan. He was into rock and soul music and stuff like that. Unlike most music teachers, always taught the old classical stuff. So I kind of liked it. But he actually gave us an Elvis test, which of course I aced. They played a little bit of a song, and you had to put in the name of the song. And because my mother was always listening to Elvis, I knew every single one of the songs. They were all pretty easy to figure out. But yeah, thought that was an interesting little fact.
Well, that's this bar back in the day I used to go to. There was a DJ, and on ladies' night, it was always him, this DJ, and he'd do
If you're
trivia.
looking for trouble, you
And
came to the right place. If you're looking for trouble, take a look right at my face. I was born standing up and talking back. My daddy was a green-eyed mountain jack. Because I'm evil. My middle name is Misery. Well, I'm evil, so you don't mess around with me.
is that what you're talking about, Boris?
no, the song I'm talking about is called Adam and Evil, like Adam and Eve, but evil instead of Eve.
So, anyways, this a
Mm.
DJ would have trivia, and every time he had trivia that had to do with Elvis, I'd answer it. And I remember the one week I had answered
Now,
like the week
Adam and evil, they
before.
go hand in hand. Eve taught him sin. That's the
I
way it
am
all began.
Jesus.
Sorry. You're
That's
Jesus?
the one.
I was talking.
He
I've been
loves to
trying
do
to tell
that.
the story 3 times now.
Okay.
Sorry.
And so I had won like the 2 weeks before, and he said I have some trivia, and he looks at me and he goes, and you cannot answer it this time. Because he was going to have something about Elvis again. Well, it wasn't just Elvis; it was anything, basically anything with rock and roll or Elvis. I'd have the answer. He just looks at me. He's like, no, not you.
I can imagine that.
All right, now what about the song, David?
Yeah, he found it.
Alrighty. I guess it's from the movie Spin Out.
Uh, Possibly, yeah.
But now Adam and Evil, they go hand in hand. Eve taught him sin. That's the way it all began. But every time you kiss me, my heart pounds like a drum. So trouble is a woman. Trouble, here I come. I'm lonely like Adam. You're evil like Eve. I shouldn't take forbidden fruit because I believe I'll be heading straight for heartache. I should cut loose and run. But if loving you means heartache, heartache, here I come. You're not the angel that I dreamed about, but you're the devil I don't want to live without. A woman's a woman, a man is a man. I can't be free. I'm just putty in your hands. Who cares about tomorrow? I need your love tonight. And even if you're evil, baby, hold me tight. Hold me tight. You're
Well,
not the angel that I dreamed about, but you're the devil I don't want to live without. A woman's a woman, a man is a man. I can't be free. I'm just putty in your hands. Who cares about tomorrow? I need your love tonight.
okay, so
Alrighty.
all right.
Now
As
that's
far
the
as the
actual
music
song.
goes in the movie, though, I thought it went well with the movie. I
Uh,
mean,
uh,
I get held up on Elvis movies because lip syncing or singing is something that's done with Elvis movies for the most part. Like, so that's what holds me back from liking it a lot.
I
I'd
guess I
rather
just don't notice it.
I ain't
uh,
I
noticed it
notice
either.
it. I
by the
notice it.
way,
I
uh,
I just like to enjoy movies. I don't try to nitpick.
hey Tammy, sorry for jumping back to the previous topic, but when Dave read the lyrics of this song, I think you wanted to ask me something, but you were interrupted.
I just
What
can't
were you
enjoy
going to?
something that someone's not really singing.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
can enjoy all the crap that you watch.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
All
Just
right, all
saying,
right.
it's
Be nice.
weird.
I'd rather be able to see that someone is actually singing a song than listen to a recording. It's just like I don't want to hear someone preaching at me. I want to
That is
experience
nothing like the other.
it.
I don't want to hear anyone preaching at me either.
Anyways, let's get to Morris. Who is your favorite character and what's your favorite scene?
The favorite character is most definitely Walter, and my favorite scene is the confrontation with Grogan when he told him, I'm not marrying Rose for being your sister, I'm marrying her in spite of it. That was, to me at least, by far the best line in the movie.
Yeah, okay. How about you, Kroll?
Yeah, definitely Walter. Is favorite character. Lou is up there. I like the sister as well and the girlfriend. Most of the cast is good. Grogan even, like I said, he wasn't great, but he definitely had a good. He had probably the best character development in the movie. Um, because he was kind of an ass and he came around and he grew up and you know he came through. But as far as scene goes, I do like that scene that Boris loves there. That was a good scene, but I think the best scene to me is when Grogan sees what they did to Lou, and he just goes off, and then uh, Walter comes in and helps him and just knocks the guy out, and
Mm,
they just clean house. That was probably the best scene for me. Um,
yeah, that could be my second favorite scene, maybe.
yeah, but definitely some really good scenes right there. Um, yeah, so.
How about you, David?
um,
Mm.
I will also have to say that Walter is my favorite character because um, he definitely knew how to stand his ground as a boxer, and even though he wasn't necessarily a boxer in to start with, but he evidently had some hidden talent that he didn't even know about. It was just too dumb and stupid not to say no to some money, So, in any case, favorite scene. Well, there are a couple. One of them is the one that Crow mentioned. I do think that was a good turnaround. But I do also enjoy the scene when Elvis sees that first thing being thrown out the window by Dolly, and she's just throwing everything that she ever got from him from Grogan left and right. You know, it, and she just walks out on him, and then later you find out that he's been like visiting her wherever she went to, and every night like a lovesick puppy. So, but
Yeah, the cook's like it's kind of sweet.
Okay, is that it?
yep.
Well, my favorite character is kind of a toss up between Walter and Lou. Just,
Yeah, Lou's a good
just for the
character.
fact of the history and stuff. but I agree with the two seasons with the that Boris said and with Girls said. But I have to add one because you know what? I really love that first knockout, that first sprow, that very first one.
Scoot
Wow.
I think that when he's just taking it, and all of a sudden he just
That
wham.
that reminds me of the my next my other favorite scene, because shortly after that, Joe the boxer, they he ends up walking out of like the place, and they end up meeting, and they have like a small pregnant pause, like looking at each other, like, okay, I
Yeah.
knocked this guy out. What the
Yeah,
fuck is
Walter
he
looked
gonna
like he
say?
was gonna, the other
And
guy
he,
looked like Joe looked like he was gonna come over and start something with him, and
yeah.
instead he was just like, "What you hit me with?" And then he laughed about it, and they come join us singing and stuff. It was a good moment because yeah, he did seem like he was gonna be like that asshole type of you beat me in the ring, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass now type thing, and then he
And
was all just like, "What'd you hit me
he
with?"
seemed like he was even jovial after he sparred with
I
him
also
later
another
after.
scene when he comes back and he's like, "I want to help you prepare for the fight," and Elvis is about to goes to knock him, and he goes back. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! No!" He's like, give me the helmet." It's like, yeah, you want to get punched without wearing that again.
So all in all, everybody seems to have enjoyed this, and any all of our people that are listening, I hope you check this out and be interested to hear your opinions. But I think it was a fun movie for everybody. And with that, I think we'll go back to David so that he can let us know what's coming up next.
So we're not going to do production or music.
We
We
already
already
did
did
that.
production and music.
Where were you?
I must have sleeping.
She asked us about production before, and then she asked us how you felt about the music. So,
Oh, yes.
Did not hear you say either one of them. I know we
Well,
did touch on the music, so makes sense. Well,
did
I
you
by
thought
the
guys?
the
way,
uh,
I
I
have
thought the
proof that you
production was
were on the
decent.
Quiet Man episode. So,
I thought the production was decent. Like I said, I like the car. I mean, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, look at that old car. I mean, even for '67 when the movie was made, that was an old car.
Oh,
So
yeah, the
it's
car was
probably
cool.
a 1930s or something. And I don't know. I wouldn't want to drive one of those, but looking at them is kind of neat. I think they have, like you said, character, and I love how he put some love into it and made it look really nice and then drove it. It was funny that the other cars were passing him like it was nothing, and it was funny. But yeah, it definitely has some character. It was definitely something nice to look at. You know, I like really old cars or really new fancy science fiction looking cars. Uh, not too much in between. That's just the way I like it though. So I like the car, and yeah, I thought the production was decent. I mean, there wasn't a lot needed to be done, obviously. Um, just the boxing looked pretty decent. You know, um, I'm sure he wasn't really getting punched in the face that hard, or he would have had some bruises. They would have bruised that beautiful face of Elvis. uh, but yeah, so the production was pretty decent. Uh, Maybe they could have gave him a few more black eyes, especially after that first fight, because boy, did he take a beating. But yeah, I liked it, and of course the music was fun. So just wanted to put that in there. And all right, back to you, Dave. What are we getting subjected to next week?
alrighty. Next a week, I guess it goes back over to Boris, where we will be going and having a retalk, because we have several new people to well, not new people, but several people added to the group since we first talked about it.
We're
So,
several people, Tammy.
being Tammy and you, Crow, because you weren't on that original discussion.
Hey, And Mo might actually make it for this one, maybe.
Might. You never know. Can't always count on him.
No,
But
I did
hope-
count on him not being here today, even though he was up and talking and stuff.
yeah, he was already making comments about his forehead last night. So
Well, even before that, he said that he wasn't really his fan. Of course, he was saying that he might enjoy the movie, but I'm thinking, yeah, he ain't gonna watch it.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed our discussion on this film, and we'll be back next week with some more exciting discussion pieces. So thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are, and just don't go out there and pick a fight and think you're going to win something. So
True.
But everyone say good night.
Good night.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, John Boy.